Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. We're switching gears just a little bit this morning, talking about what is happening at the Alexandria Housing Authority. Our guest this morning, the Executive Director, Mr. Joe Page, talking about one of the largest projects that we have seen since 1941. Mr. Joe, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. It's great to see you. There are so many amazing things happening at the Alexandria Housing Authority, starting with this huge $67 million project. First of all, let's rewind and talk about the Housing Authority, where it came from, and where we see it going.
Well, the history of the Housing Authority is that it actually started in 1941 by act of the Alexandria City government that created the Housing Authority. And the first two units were built in 1943, Fairway on Monroe Street and Copper Village on Lee Street. They were actually built for the military for the buildup of the World War II.
Wow.
And then it transitioned to the Housing Authority once that effort was over with. Since that time, we've added additional units, and the Housing Authority now has 9 locations across the city, of some 582 units.
582 units.
Yes.
And so there was a huge push to really not only renovate, but build new houses.
Yes, we were approved for a program called Rental Assistance Demonstration, or RAD.
Rental Assistance Demonstration.
Correct.
And what does that mean?
Well, it provides an opportunity for housing authorities across the country to partner with private investors, secure loans, and they get tax credits to refurbish our old housing stock and actually build new stock. HUD realized back in 2012 when they created this program that the federal government could not continue pumping money into housing authorities across the country that will provide them funds to keep these housing stock in good repair. RAD will allow us to do that. It will allow us to refurbish all of our old units, and we're actually going to build 92 new units.
Wow.
So this is an exciting time for us. That's that $67 million project we've been working on.
Wow. And so you're going to build 92 new units.
Correct.
And where are those units going to be?
They're going to be located on Loblolly Lane, on property we already own. It's right down the street from our main office.
Okay. And so when you are trying to fill those homes, because it's going to transition from people renting to really talking about ownership and helping people to understand ownership.
Let me talk a little bit about affordable housing.
Okay.
That's what this is going to be called. Once we make the transition, we won't be public housing. We'll be affordable housing. So what does that mean? It means that we, in our program, we only charge 30% of total household income on rent.
30?
30%.
Okay.
There are citizens out there who are paying more than 30% on rent every month.
And they'll never own.
And they'll never own. And that does not leave a lot of money left to do all the other things they're responsible for, like health care, food, clothing, etc. Affordable housing says that we will not charge more than 30% of the total household income on rent. That frees up a little money for folks to do other things they need to do.
Wow. And so that's got to be really an exciting proposition for those people who maybe thought that they might not ever become homeowners.
That's exactly right. We do have a program that we think will set us apart from all the other offerings in the community for affordable housing. We have what we call resident quality of life.
Okay.
A part of that initiative is that we are providing opportunity for folks to go through a 1-year program that will qualify them for home mortgages that can actually go out and buy their own home.
Wow. So they're going to go through a program. Talk about how important that is. Sometimes people just think that buying a home is an easy proposition, but really it's a process.
It is. Well, through that 1-year process we're going to take them to, we need to have them understand it's more than just being able to pay the mortgage.
Right.
The responsibility of home ownership includes maintenance, insurance, etc. So, and they have to start out, and we require them to establish a savings account, get their credit cleaned up, get employment, and understand the whole process of home mortgaging. When they go through that 1-year program with us, at the end of that program, they will actually be qualified for a home mortgage.
Wow. And the reason why this is so important, Mr. Joe, is because this is going to essentially help to break cycles, generational cycles of people who never saw generations before them become homeowners. And so how do you help people to realize that maybe your mother and your grandmother were never homeowners, but the possibility does exist for you? Because it's a mentality.
It is, and I think education is the key. And that's one of the other parts of this initiative, is that we have partnered with the Central Louisiana Technical Community College that will provide adult education for our clients so that they can develop job skills. They're unemployed because they don't have the job skills. So if we can get them exposed to this adult education, develop job skills, we will work with local employers to help put these folks together. Now, let me take this opportunity to clear up a couple of myths about public housing.
Okay, good.
These residents work, but they don't earn $20 an hour.
Right.
National studies show that in order to afford a 2-bedroom house on the market, you must earn $20 an hour. Now, that's not to say that there are folks who are not living on the market making less than $20 an hour, but they're paying more than 30% of their total household income on rent. Who are those folks? They work for the city. They work for me. They work at the hospitals. They work at McDonald's. They work at Walmart. These are folks who don't make $20 an hour.
Right.
And these are the folks that we are trying to help because we think they deserve safe, decent, sanitary, and affordable housing.
Right. And I don't think that anybody has really ever focused necessarily on that group in terms of really opening up the opportunity and making a way for hardworking people to become homeowners.
Right.
And so what do they have to do, Mr. Joe, to qualify to be a part of the program, if there is anything that they have to do?
There's a qualification that is based on income, and it depends on the family size. Low to moderate income are the folks that we target. There's an application process that they can do online. They go on our website and submit an application. The waiting list is by bedroom size, from 1 bedroom through 5 bedroom. And it depends on the family size.
1 bedroom to 5?
Yes.
Wow.
And it depends on your family size, on what bedroom size your family is qualified for. So if your family size says you qualify for a 2-bedroom, you go to 2-bedroom waiting list. Right now, if I combine all waiting lists I have over 500 people on the waiting list.
Over 500?
Yes.
Wow. And so how will you whittle that down? How will that be worked through?
I have a whole department that is charged with the responsibility of working that wait list. And it's a daily process of processing folks through. And when people percolate to the top of the list, they're notified that they are now next in line for housing. And there's a process they go through to actually get placed in housing.
Wow. Is that exciting for you, Mr. Joe, to know that so many people in this community are wanting homes?
It is, and if I think about the number of units we have and the number of new units we are going to build, it still will not be enough affordable housing in the community.
Still won't be enough?
No, because there's always going to be a shortage of affordable housing.
Affordable.
There's enough housing,
but not
I'm talking about affordable housing. People who do not make $20 an hour, who should have an opportunity to live in safe, decent, sanitary, and affordable housing.
Wow. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're going to take a break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about what the Alexandria Housing Authority is doing to be the change that they want to see in our community. Stay on point. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. Our guest this morning is Mr. Joe Page, who is the Executive Director of the Alexandria Housing Authority. And we're talking about the $67 million that the Housing Authority has to really make a difference in Central Louisiana. And during the break, I was just talking to Mr. Joe about the waiting list and the number of people who are on the list and the people who want to be on the list, and really understanding the difference between public housing and Section 8. So help us to understand the differences.
The difference between public housing and Section 8. Section 8 is a program we run by contracting with private landlords. They sign their property up with us, and they have agreed to have those properties inspected annually. It must meet all standards, must be safe, decent, and sanitary. And they also must agree to rent reasonableness where the property is located. If the property where it's located says they can charge $750 a month rent, they cannot go above that amount. When we qualify a resident to occupy that unit, and we look at their total household income, and we take 30% of that. If 30% of the total household income is $500, the housing authority pays the difference between the $500 and the $750, and that money goes directly from us to the landlord by direct deposit.
Right. And so for those people that will go through that year-long process, how important is understanding all of the logistics of not just being a homeowner, but understanding how to pay your bills?
It's extremely important.
And that sounds almost maybe like it's not important, but sometimes people don't really connect with how to pay their bills and how to pay them on time and the importance.
We try to stress this with our clients either in our public housing program as well as in our Section 8 program, because not paying your rent on time does affect your credit rating. If you're going to go through that 12-month program with us to get yourself in a position to qualify to buy your own home, you have to be sure your credit is cleaned up and you have the discipline to pay all your bills on time. So it is extremely important. We have a policy in place now for our public housing clients. You pay your rent on the 1st. If you don't pay it by the 5th, you pay a late fee.
Right.
5 days after that, you're going to start the eviction process.
Wow.
Now, it's a cost for us because we have to pay legal fees to do that. But in that process, it damages the residents' credit rating. So it's important that they understand they need to consistently pay their bills on time.
Right. And these are lessons that, you know, we all have to abide by. And it's just important for the future of the next purchase and the next things that you do. I mean, now your credit affects absolutely everything.
Yeah, it's a matter of prioritizing how we run our business. And those are the things we try to stress with our clients. They have rent to pay. They have cell phone bills to pay. They have cable, satellite dish fees to pay. They pay those on time, so they're going to pay us on time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so have you found people to be receptive in these areas to really pick up a trade?
We found that there is a great deal of interest out there. We've done some surveys on folks, and we're going to be conducting an additional survey to see what the interest might be on the folks who live in our public housing units. And that's part of the partnership we have with the community college.
So you're really trying to figure out, what it sounds like is you're trying to figure out where people are gifted at or where their interests lie so that you can really begin to cultivate that.
That too, plus provide them an opportunity to get training in skills that's needed in the local community.
Right.
We're not going to waste money and time developing job skills that's not needed in the community. For example, why would I want to train folks in aircraft mechanic when there's not a great opportunity for that?
Right.
But if I work for local employers and find out what skill set you need in your business, those are the skills I need to be developing in the folks who live with us.
And that's going to be twofold, because it's going to help this project, but it's also going to help employers. And so many people are saying there are no jobs here available, but this is an opportunity for people to train themselves or retrain themselves for those opportunities.
One of the most difficult things I found since I've been at the Housing Authority, and one of the things that I have made a priority is developing partnerships. Partnerships like we have with the community college. I want to develop those same kind of partnerships with the local employers. What do you need in terms of job skills to run your business? If I know what that is, then I can partner with a community college to get my folks who live with us to develop those skills and go to work for those employers.
So it's not just about housing, it's about providing quality of life. Full circle.
Yes.
So, Mr. Joe, we've got to let you go. Tell people how they can connect with the Alexandria Housing Authority and get themselves started, signed up for great opportunities.
They can go to our website, the Alexandria Housing Authority, and they'll have all the information on there. How to do business with the Housing Authority, how to apply for housing with us. They can call us at 318-442-8843. It's our main office, and they can contact us also on Facebook.
Absolutely. Lots of great opportunities at the Alexandria Housing Authority. Mr. Joe Page is the executive director. As always, Mr. Joe, thank you for being a game changer in our community.
Well, thanks for having me. Allow me to tell our story.
Indeed. Hey, everybody, stay on point. We're back right after this. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'm Carlette Christmas.
And I'm Glenda Stock, and this is our final point today on Point.
Glenda, it's always good for us to be able to find information and things that are happening in and around our community, like what Mr. Joe Page and the Alexandria Housing Authority are doing to literally change the way that people have lived for years and years and years, and to break cycles through education and information.
I love it. I think that, they have really struck a chord, and having been involved with so many people who wanted so desperately to become homeowners and worked with several families in the Habitat program, and we all know what that is in terms of really the nonprofit that provides, but you provide the building.
Right.
And this is a concept that's similar to that, in that they're motivating individuals to realize that home ownership is attainable.
Right.
And in doing so through an affordable housing situation. I think it's an amazing thing. It's kind of, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, how long and why did it take us so long to figure this out? Because I promise you, I have seen some of these settings, and it's sad and it's pathetic in some of the settings where people have grown to perhaps not be motivated to feel the need to, number one, take care of where they are, and number two, to feel any sense of ownership of where they are. And so the property probably was not always taken care of the way it needed to be. There was not always the pride that there needed to be. So I see this as being a win-win for, for everyone involved.
Sure. And this really is a mindset. And as Mr. Joe and I were talking about, sometimes you can see generations of people who did what their grandmother did, and then their mother did it, and now they're doing it, that don't see home ownership as a possibility for them. So what has to happen is, before you can see that, you've got to be able to change the thinking and the thought process. And as you said, sometimes you can't understand why a person wouldn't take care of where they lived and have pride in that. And believe it or not, in many cases, that has to be taught.
Yes.
And, they have created a program where they're partnering with people here in town to help people to learn how to work, to build into their own future. But really to go through the process of fixing your credit and all of the things that it takes. And it takes time.
Yes.
And through that process, he's hoping and they're hoping that they will be able to change mindsets.
And it's going to take action on these people's part.
It's going to take action.
It's not going to be handed to them. And so the people who have been there perhaps in the past, perhaps with minimal effort on their part, are going to find themselves having to make a change. if they want to be a resident in this particular housing mode anymore.
Right.
Because it's going to transition from 100% being taken care of by the housing authority to the fact that you indeed have to take some sense of ownership.
And there is pride.
Oh, yeah.
There is pride in ownership. And here's what one of the takeaways was for me, Glenda, that people have to come out of, you have to come out of being comfortable with where you are and be okay being a little bit uncomfortable.
Right.
And then come out of the fear of, you know, what if I'm not successful? What's going to happen? And you just really throw your heart over the bar, you know, and you just start.
Right.
And when you start, there are amazing people. Listen, there's nobody more learned with more information than Mr. Joe Page. He's no nonsense. He's get her done, but he's going to help you get there.
He will, absolutely. And his motive is going to be driven by all the right things.
The right things.
You know, and people are going to have to be willing to learn and be willing to listen to the direction and to the guidance and, you know, do things differently in their life, maybe over what they've grown up seeing done. And that will be a big switch for a lot of people. And we get that. Change is never easy, even though it's a good change. It's never an easy thing sometimes for people to accept. But I think it's an exciting time. I think it's a kind of a new day, a new arrival, if you will, a new opportunity for many, many people who've not been able in the past to call themselves homeowners to do so. And I just hope that there will be other great things come from this. You know, when you build pride in what you're doing and you start teaching that taking on more responsibility for yourself, powerful things can happen, you know, and out of this can, you know, new entrepreneurial thinking will begin to crop up because as people begin to spread their wings, we know what can happen.
Right. And they're putting a lot of money in this. This is a $67 million project. And I'm going to tell you, for those people who are listening and who are watching, this is such an incredible opportunity. And if you have ever been in a position where you're saying, I want to do something different, I want to make a change, now is the time. There's information on the screen, Glenda, that's going to help people. They're going to literally hold your hand and walk you through this process. They have a lot of great partners in this mission to help people have good, affordable, and decent housing where it doesn't, you know, suck up all your income, where you can have pride in where you live. And finally, if you're one of those people who never owned a home, that possibility exists and is available.
And these structures are going to be new structures and really, you know, great places for people to call home.
And Mr. Joe is a plethora of information, Glenda. He really understands this inside and out.
I'm sure we'll have him back for more information as this project progresses, because our listeners hopefully will heed this message and begin to start gathering your facts now and try and learn and understand where you may qualify and how you may fit into this new day.
Absolutely. And so we want to thank Mr. Joe Page and the Alexandria Housing Authority for being game changers, and we hope to hear a lot more in the future about the progression of the project and how to connect you with this incredible movement. We're out of time for now. I'm Carlette Christmas.
And I'm Glenda Stock, and this has been our final point today on Point.
Stay with us, everybody. We're back to wrap up right after this.